Love you, bro. Hey, Donald, this is Paul. Hey, if you get a chance, could you give me a call back, please? Love you, bro. I want to talk to you about the house. Thank you. Donald, this is Paul. Love you, bro. Hey, Donald, this is Paul. Love you, bro.
Hi, I'm Trevor,
Hi, I'm John.
and you are listening to another episode of the Caps Off Show. See, I got it right that time.
Yeah, this is the morning edition.
Yeah,
This
I
is the
am
closest
tired.
thing we'll have to like a morning show.
John, 32 minutes ago, I was asleep.
I think the last time we were even remotely together, like this early, had to be the 48-hour film
Yeah, for
festival
liver.
when you woke up at my house. It's so groggy. There's something I don't
Coughing
know.
and hacking and trying to do a push-up.
I don't know if many of the audience knows this about you, but you are just awful when you're really tired.
I'm not a fan of being tired.
You're just not very. You're not like the
I get
well-rested
cranky, I wanna
Trevor.
go to sleep.
Very productive, very level-headed, not rested Trevor is an absolute dick, comparable to a 3-year-old.
I would argue that
You don't seem bad this morning, though. So.
yeah, I'm pretty good right now. I would argue that if I'm tired, like at the end of the night kind of tired, I'm more productive because I realize as soon as I get everything done, I can go to sleep with no worries.
Nice.
So if I start getting really tired and we're working on something, I get like a super boost of productivity, but I also get like a super boost of stress, like as if the world's gonna end the next
Yeah.
day. So
I am like the king of procrastination, so almost every time I'm going to bed at night, it's like an anxiety-filled, like I have to tape my eyelids shut, because I always feel like I'm going to bed unaccomplished.
yeah,
It's like, okay, so it's 7:50 a.m. We are recording from the Papa's 50s Diner here in our hometown.
yeah. If you're
It's a
wondering
nice-
what all the background noise
Yeah,
is,
nice little place. I thought it would add to the aesthetic, so if you don't
Yeah.
like it, I'm sorry.
you can just skip this one. Count yourself out. I'll
It
do what I can to make it easy to listen to. But
might not even be the worst one to skip, just because I don't know how alert we're going to be, but I guess we're going to have to find out.
it's good coffee.
First of all, do you want to talk
serious
about...
gourmet shit?
I haven't even seen it yet, but do you want to talk about the episode 2?
Sure.
Trevor Cobb?
Yeah, we're good.
Good, thank you. That was our
Our
server.
waitress.
I don't even think we got her name.
No, we can't.
We're awful. I'm sure she said it to
She
us.
didn't care. No, she didn't.
She didn't?
No.
Oh.
She's a cute girl.
Okay, so we're both.
So
Like, we're just
I
as
would
bad
remember.
as she is.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Trevor Cobb at all?
Sure. You, like you said, you haven't seen it yet. Thanks for
Yeah.
that.
Well, it just came out this morning.
No,
so.
yeah, I appreciate it, dude. You've been up for how long?
Okay.
You seen Mandalorian yet? Better not have.
So I was gonna ask you, if that comes out today. It's actually available to watch. The first one available to watch.
To them, when they're listening to this, the second episode came out today.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
Thank you so much.
So we're so behind.
Sarah.
Thank you.
I
I think we're good.
Oh, thank you.
Alright,
Thank you so
enjoy.
much.
Thank you.
No more interruptions like that. No name. No,
Lock
but
it down.
I'm sure it's great. I'll watch it later.
Yeah, no, it was a lot
Trevor
of fun.
Cobb,
to
not
make.
Mandalorian. I'll probably watch that tonight though.
I finished it in like record time, and there's upbeat Scottish music, and I think it's definitely carried by the first half. The second half is just expository nonsense that has to be in there for the sake of the story.
To set up the Trevor Cobb universe.
No, actually, to set up just the rest of it all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that food came out ridiculously quick.
Yes, so good. Too fast, I'd say. I'm starting to wonder if maybe
That's it. We're
they
going to
just
Denny's.
don't. That's kind of my first thought. We walk in and they tell us we can't record. It's like I'm pretty sure Denny's will let you come in high off of crack and still serve you pancakes and
amphetamines and
you could do literally
the cook will
anything.
probably ask for some.
Did you see that video of those guys who held a concert in a Denny's?
No.
It's like a mosh pit concert. They had to be like, I imagine most Denny's are 24 hours, but
Yeah.
It had to be
Or
like
at least
late
they were
at night.
like pre-pandemic.
Yeah, they had the tables all moved out of the way, and they're all moshing and shit. And he's like, "What the fuck is up, Denny's?" And they start. It's amazing. It's a really good video.
Love that.
But so one thing I kind of want to talk about, especially since we were just talking about how the last time we were awake this early together was the 48-hour film festival. There's something else that I actually thought of this morning, and it's the question that I ask you that just keeps getting better every month.
I don't want to talk about it.
I want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk
It'll
about it.
be real brief.
I know what you're going to ask
It'll
me.
be really, really
It's so
brief.
ridiculous. It feels like you're rubbing it in my face. I'm like, I get it. Look,
That's
I
half the
changed.
point of
No, I
it being
changed.
funny.
I changed.
Okay, I know you changed, and we'll talk about that. But the I just love
Oh,
the
look
question.
at you, Trevor. You were wrong. You were wrong. How about
Okay,
you?
Well,
I love bringing it up. For
not
once.
my fault. You feel bad about being wrong
For
about
once
it.
you were wrong,
It's
and
not
I'm
my fault
gonna
you feel
bring it
that
up as
way.
often as I can, Trevor.
So what happened is the 48-hour film festival that morning before we got started filming, we all met at IHOP because you got to start the day with a good breakfast, much like today. Look at these pancakes! Don't they look awesome?
They do. What do you think, audience?
Yeah, just bask in that whiff of maple syrup and whatnot. So we're sitting
Actually,
there.
to them, we could not have pancakes here at all.
Yeah.
We could just be at home with like noise edited in.
Hitting like small pieces of paper in your mouth and chewing on it. So we're sitting at that booth, and it was almost you would say pre-pandemic.
I think it was
Like
start of pandemic
yeah.
because the next week was when Uptown officially closed. So people like knew
Yeah.
what it was, but
So essentially what I'm talking about is we're just sitting there, and I kind of turned to Trevor. Nobody at this point has even entertained the idea of really wearing masks, but there are this is at the point where you started seeing those people in Walmart wearing the masks and the face shield. It starts giving that like kind of uneasy feeling when you're like, what the fuck's going on with the world? And we have no idea what's about to hit us. And so I turned to Trevor and I asked, I don't even think this was like a really incriminating question or anything. I literally just asked, like, at what point would this, like, the severity of the pandemic get for you personally to decide that you need to wear a mask? And instead of answering the fucking question, you just, like, I don't want to say you came out of your face at me, but you just kind of like a really quick snap of like, it's not going to get that bad. It's just, it's just in one part of the country. It's not going to happen that way, which I'm not going to, I'm not going to like, you were wrong, yeah, but I feel like the majority of us were wrong too. That's what a lot of people thought at the time.
I thought I said something along the lines of like, "You'll never catch me wearing one of those stupid masks."
Oh, I think you did say something like that too. You said both.
Whoops.
I mean, you weren't wrong. You weren't wrong at all. All of us kind of thought a similar thing. I mean, it's a topic. That's the main reason we chose not to talk about COVID was because I feel like it's over the last 6 months, one of the most over-talked about topics.
Right, this is supposed to be an escape.
Yeah, there's nothing left to say about it. But there's just one little thing I thought was funny because I was thinking about that this morning while I was getting ready.
When you were wrong, Trevor?
Yeah.
That's just one thing I thought I'd mention.
Well, if there's any moment that we share together that I can just relish day after day, it's a point where I was making you look dumb.
Thanks. See, the moments I cherish, they're times I enjoy with you.
Yeah. Stupid.
Like that time with when we were watching Ninja Turtles, and he opened his mouth real wide, and you saw the actor. I don't know if you remember that.
Like
but
the eyes and the mouth in between the teeth.
Yeah, and I remember we were watching it, and that happened, and you and I just kind of like turned and looked at each other. There he was.
Yeah, you know it's an actor, but when you see the eyeballs, you just get like a sudden of like, oh God, does he need help? Someone trapped in there. Something kind of related to the pandemic is, as of today, we are like 4 or 5 days away from the election, and I don't want to talk about anything political, but I do want to talk about just like the status of the world as it is.
Oh God! Yeah, I got something to talk about.
And basically, I guess what my question would be is very similar to the mask thing. I'm just going to pull it right back up.
You thought the election was never going to happen.
Idiot. No, but Tuesday is going to be a crazy day. And I think it's going to be followed by a lot more kind of wacky days full of just... I think the world, obviously the world's not going to go off of its axis.
Right.
I do think no matter what happens, the decision of the election, I think somebody somewhere is going to be upset. And it just feels like...
No way.
you believe it or not, someone's not going to be happy about this. It just feels like the tone of the year is just like every reaction that you're going to get is always going to be an overreaction to something. So my question, I guess, is do you think things are just going to get kind of interesting? Do you think it's going to be almost business as usual coming after Tuesday? From Tuesday, I guess, to January 20th. It's like a 3-month period of just big question marks.
It'll be big, but eventually, probably around January 20th, everything will go business as usual.
Yeah.
Like there'll be some people with a little bit of animosity, but it won't be such a big topic. Every fucking election year, someone's like, every election year, you get this is the most important election of our lives. This is literally like the end all be all of elections. And so I'm sick of hearing it. So when people say it to me, I kind of roll my eyes. And then
it's understandable. It's one of many like talking points in just modern days since 2020 began. That's just like I just don't want to talk about that right now.
There's always such a big thing. Like and when Trump got elected the first term, there was always a huge upset. And then the 3 years it was pretty calm for the most part.
Yeah, I feel like people remotely got over it pretty quickly.
And then when Obama got elected his second term, Texas started threatening to secede from the United States. And that lasted for a little bit, and then they calmed down. So there'll be a little bit of unrest, but then everything's going to go... Last time I said this, the world shut down. Yeah. But then everything's going to go back to normal. It won't last.
I think you got a little bit more context than you did last time you were asked a question like this.
I might.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I feel like we've had conversations before where we talk about how some people can definitely hate the president just because of who he is.
The angry man on the TV.
Yeah. And not,
harbor real hatred for someone they don't know.
And not like what he does. I mean, what he does, some people find problems with, but I mean, there's definitely people out there who just pick on him just to pick on him. I will never not admit that. But the thing is you have to think about, like, it's a shame we didn't have the access to, like, media that we do now, like we did, like, say, when Obama was in office. Mm-hmm. Do you know the kind of scandals that came out when Obama was in office?
I don't. I was 8 to 15 years old.
Exactly. There's no way we ever would know unless, like, we heard our parents talking about it, and even if we did, we would not give a flying fuck, probably. But I was looking at the other day some of the more, like, bigger, I don't want to call, like, not conspiracies, but, like, the bigger things.
Sorry, it's my alarm. It's the same one in Groundhog Day. So I hate that song like Bill Murray does.
Why would you do that to yourself?
I think it's funny.
It's a gift that keeps on giving.
If I'm going to hate a song, I might as well have, like, a funny connection.
That's true. So one of the bigger, like, scandals out of the White House when Obama was president were things like he wore a tan suit during a press conference once. People said it was the most un-American thing in the world.
That's a big example of just wanting to find something to hate.
He was using a selfie stick once, and they said it shows that he's not a serious president, and that he doesn't know how to take things seriously.
Like Bill Clinton wasn't playing the saxophone on MTV.
God, if only I had a time machine, the things I would go back and see. Probably not Bill Clinton playing saxophone, but... and then there's even, like a picture of him riding a bike coming out. Like, you just see, how the White House staff will sometimes go on, like, mountain bike rides and stuff. And he's wearing a helmet. And the Fox News people are like, so do you think this makes him look weak? And then they pull up a picture of Putin next to it wearing no shirt on a horse. No helmet, no shirt, just like chewing a radish
at that
out
point,
of his hand.
At that point, you gotta wonder. I mean, if it were just the picture, yeah, but when Putin's coming out with stuff like that, you gotta take a step back and be like, okay.
Okay, but do you really
how do we measure up? Get him a radish.
Obama needs a radish now. Do you really look at Putin, though, and see these, like, kind of, like, dictator-like things he does?
Yeah,
that are...
I do.
Yeah, with both eyes. No, but I meant, like, do you, like, when he does these things, it's obviously not, like, he wasn't riding a horse to take that picture because he wanted to ride a horse shirtless. Obviously, there was a point to take that picture to make him look heroic and like a good leader. Like, you know, North Korea is very guilty of that. Like, they all think half of them are fooled into
Kim
thinking.
Jong-un dead? He is, right?
That's a really good question, I think.
Because I feel like that was like...
I thought I just saw him in the news, though, because I thought he was dead for weeks, and then he just popped up, apparently. But
Well,
I haven't seen him, like alive, though, so I can't tell you.
There were, like, all those jokes about it, and, like, those Weekend at Bernie jokes, Weekend at Kim's, and then they announced that his sister would be taking over, but they didn't announce that he died. Like, they never officially came out and said it.
Well, you think about how little
worried.
media comes out of North Korea as it is. They don't like anything getting out. They don't let reporters come in. So basically what we get is what they give us and what U.S. intelligence seeks out. So it's not uncommon to think that he's just dead in a box somewhere. And people are pulling strings to make him type. Like that
FaceTime
commercial. Yeah.
We had a joke about... no, I'm not going to talk about it.
Okay. You know, for being as early and tired as I am, I'm kind of surprised at how well the conversation is going.
Yeah, me too.
Especially with me
We've only been going for
pancake in my
16
face.
minutes. That's garbage. No, I wanted to talk about when we were talking about like the state of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I read there were two things I wanted to touch on. First off, and most importantly, the day this is airing, the day after is my birthday. So the audience, tomorrow I turn 21 on the 7th.
Happy birthday, Trevor.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
No, the second thing, a little less important. I read a story yesterday that made me legitimately sick. Like, there are very few things where I'll read about it happening and I'll feel...
Like a news story?
Yeah, and
I
I'll
thought
feel...
you meant like Hansel and Gretel.
You heard of this? Breadcrumbs.
Why isn't the news talking about this? She lured children in.
No, but I read a news story, and you know how passive I can be with current events.
Absolutely. Somewhat of a centrist sometimes.
Somewhat. Yeah, I can be very, very passive when it comes to major news events. But I read a story yesterday that kind of, like, really messed me up. I felt like throwing up. I felt disgusted.
Okay.
So anyway, that's it. No, we.
Thank you for sharing.
There was a church. I think it was the Notre Dame, actually, in France, and they were holding their little service for the day.
Yeah.
And a guy went in and chopped off a lady's head with a knife.
Is that real?
That's real.
Oh, you know what? I think I did hear about a knife attack in France. I didn't know that's what happened, though.
He killed 3 people. 1 died on scene. He was just stabbed. And then
just like in the light of day, in front of God, and everybody just walks
literally,
in and starts hacking
everyone.
and starts hacking this lady's head off.
Yeah, stabbed another person who died later, and then just grabbed her by the hair and just cut her head off. And I felt so sick. I don't know why I felt like I needed to talk about it, but I haven't talked to anyone about that, and that was the worst thing I'd ever heard in my life.
Now, obviously, there's 1,000,001 reasons why this could have happened, but what do you think drives a person to do that? Do you think it's religiously motivated? With it being in...
we shouldn't get into all that. It's kind of hot buttony, I think.
I don't think so.
Because that's some of the controversy surrounding the story itself. Like every news article that I read, I've read multiples because I was so...
No one's going to get mad at us for trying to debunk why the guy did it or not. I mean, we're not saying like he definitely did it because he's a Muslim terrorist.
But the fact that he was screaming Allahu Akbar.
Did he actually?
Yeah.
Okay, see, these are important things you need to tell me about the story.
Yeah.
I didn't read this article. Okay, so you would say...
A lot of people are attributing it to...
Based on the facts that
radical...
it could possibly be based off of religion, which is not unlike anything we see. It doesn't make it any better, but it's not, it doesn't make it uncommon at all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You know what I mean?
I will. 41 more minutes.
Yeah, thank you. But you know what I'm saying when I'm like, doesn't make it okay,
Yeah.
but it's. I feel like we've been seeing stuff like that since we were kids. Just a young boy on 4chan watching
Sucker.
people get decapitated.
On 4chan. Leave me alone.
Stuff happens.
I had a phase. I'm not one of those.
I actually never really watched a lot of those videos, but I did have a lot of friends in school that always had iPods and stuff and could just pull that stuff up in passing and be like, hey, watch this video, and you'll never know that it's someone just hacking someone's head off when you start the video. Or
There's a subreddit called Reddit 50/50 where they're like they hide the post and they're like, this is either like a really cute bunny, reuniting with its family,
Oh, no.
or someone
no.
in a car accident, fresh with their brains blown out, And
so it's your own will to-
you gotta decide whether you want to risk it.
That whole thread is a coin toss.
It is. It's literally what it is. Yeah, it's a gamble.
There's not a gamble I think I want to play.
I don't do it.
You got to think of what. I feel like that's attributing points that leads to you walking into the Notre Dame and cutting someone's head off. It's just
It starts at
seeing,
4chan.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's where everything starts. No, but I was going for more of like seeing that kind of violence. I think video game violence and actual violence are two extremely different things, because you can do all these things in a video game and it's different, and then excuse me, I think you show like an average kid these days like a video that comes out of the Middle East of them doing all these like executions and stuff. I just think it have an impact on the child. I think definitely in a different way that the video game would.
It's because your brain knows that's real.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the bigger things is you just got to be raised in a place where violence like that is. I mean, I'm not going to go ahead and say that person came from an area like that. It could have come from a pretty great home.
Yeah.
A lot of these people that are what's what I'm looking for? I guess labeled as like Middle Eastern. A lot of them have actually like British accents, because there's so many families that go out of that area as refugees. But a lot of these people eventually, whether it's through religion, through family, or just through like service to their country, find their way back to that more kind of like radical craziness, and then they get caught and you're like, why does this guy have like a crazy, like, he looks like he came from maybe a Middle Eastern region, but he's got a crazy British accent and he just seems so proper, and you're like, this guy tried to kill somebody. So I think that's like, you never know where they came from, but a lot of times I think to be able to do stuff
cut
like
somebody's head off. He was just singing Imagine to me the other day.
I think it definitely takes coming from an area of, or
Trevor, if he was singing Imagine to you, he just masturbated. You shouldn't have listened.
But anyway, let's get to something else.
Alright, that's a bit of a downer. We're in a 50s diner, and I'm seeing an album cover for an album that didn't come out till 1967.
Suspicious. Well, at least it's not like one. Well, that does make.
All the Elvis pictures are from the 60s and 70s.
You think if it's a 50s place, what's more out of place? Something from the 40s or something from the 60s?
Probably from the 60s.
Wish No Name would get that.
No Name.
That's what her name is.
We gotta ask her
No
name. We gotta figure that out, so we can't just.
Maybe she'll say it when she answers the phone.
She picked it up and hung it up.
Oh, nice. No Name's a savage.
That's what I'm talking about. That's my kind of clerk.
Yeah, I feel safer now, actually, knowing that someone with that kind of like tenacity is bringing me my pancakes.
That's a Randall right there.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Here's kind of a different suggestion. I could pick something off my topic list, or I could just read you my topic list, no context, top to bottom, and then you can pick something. How's that sound? Which one sounds better?
Let's read off your topic list, but first I want to answer that question, which was, I think 60s definitely feels much more out of place than 40s.
Oh, yeah.
Because 60s is I think it's much more distinctly different from the 50s than the 40s was.
Especially, it's like, with a 50s diner, you put 40 stuff in. It's like, wow, that's retro. With a 50s diner, you put 60 stuff in it. You're like, you're just trying to make the place modern, and I don't like it.
I would say starting in the 50s was when there was a lot of like revolutionary type behavior, where things really started rolling and moving. There was new music, and people were introduced to new concepts, new artists that they previously would not have listened to. And in the 60s came the civil rights movement, and with that, all this crazy new music and culture. In the 70s was just a whole different wasteland. So
it's almost like a lot of generations following the 50s were just dealing with what the 50s did.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of like
prepared everyone to be horny all the time.
If you look at it on a large scale, that's kind of like how society works. It's just, nothing changes on the flip of a dime. So you have all these different morals and things that happen where people just kind of change decade after decade. So it kind of takes time for people to ease into stuff like that.
It was the 50s that Elvis started becoming prominent, and like I said, everyone was horny all the time suddenly. And so...
He was a really big civil rights advocate, right?
I don't think so. I think he viewed that as political. I don't think he actually went out and advocated for stuff. I could be totally wrong, though.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he and the Beatles were like neck and neck with like, you don't try to segregate my shows.
Yeah. And
that's a big one,
sure.
Especially in the early career. Like that's huge.
Yeah.
Especially for an artist, and that could be the make or break for an artist too.
But I was thinking that happened in the 50s. He came around in like 55, 56 was when he started being, or maybe 54 even, was when he started being like really prominent. He was born in 35, and I think he was 19, so 54. So like those people probably got around to doing the nasty, and then 20 years later, in the 70s, they have kids, and Woodstock happened.
Oh yeah. If you think about it,
and those kids were in the 90s.
They're not much different if you think about it. Like each batch of a new generation of young people.
Yeah.
Not too different in the way of like a lot of the content that they have, opinions, phrases, likes. So those kind of change. They come and go. I'd say the morals within them stay.
Yeah.
Because like the young are more likely to be like carefree, more likely to stand up for others, more likely to just be all inclusive.
You smell that?
What?
It smells like Teen Spirit.
Oh wow, I like that. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So now I don't exactly agree with the idea that like getting old makes you kind of like change and conservative like that, but it definitely does seem to happen with a lot of people. Yeah. So it's really crazy because I don't see myself changing like that, and I know like my grandparents did. I'm sure yours if you like know enough about their younger life, you'll get a sense of like, well, they definitely used to shoot back beers and smoke cigarettes all day, and now they're a little bit more put together.
Even my dad shocks me.
Yeah,
because it seems like he grew up in the span of like 1 year and became a grown adult. He tells me about all these stories and how like he had friendships like that I hear about, and I'm like, I have friendships like that. That's crazy wild. And then like I have to remind myself that he was 24.
You're like, I had a bike.
He was 24 or 25 when he married my mom.
Took on the responsibility of it.
Right.
2 children that weren't his.
And I've always grown up thinking like, oh yeah, this guy's way older than me. But now I'm like, I'm going to be 21. I'm going to be 4 years away from that. And I cannot see. I've talked to people way older than that.
Looking around corners for your baby mama.
Yeah, I've talked to people way older than that and still thought like, this person's not ready to have a kid. So to hear someone, it's crazy for me. My brother is the same age as my dad was when he took on that responsibility.
We're gonna have to talk to Brian Campbell about that sometime, because I'd love to ask him like whether he thought at that age, before and after he met your mother, whether he thought he was ready for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
That
I think
might
that'd
just
be nice.
what you need. You might just need the right kind of person to have those kids already, to show you that maybe, maybe you sleep with her a couple times. You're like, I can get into this. I can put milk in a cup. I can put juice in a cup. I can change a diaper.
Well, it takes sleeping with her a couple times to figure that out.
Yeah, well.
Is it worth it? I think it is.
I would definitely say don't make that decision before you sleep with her because she might be great. I sound so bad.
You sound really bad. I'd say don't make that decision until you know her and have been with her for a while. But he knew my mom for 2 months before he popped the question.
Okay. I sound
So
like
he didn't follow that rule either.
I sound like a jerk saying all that, but it's really easy for me to say with a man with a wife that I love and loves me, and I have a child already. So
Yeah.
half of that's just pushed out of my brain. Like I don't think about
That's something so
that
foreign
weird
to
like
me,
rat
too.
race of like I gotta get a girlfriend and a job, and
Yeah.
like, I'm halfway there.
That's something I've been actually juggling around a lot recently because Weston's engaged, and I've talked to him about this. I've talked to my friend Gabby about this. I realize I'm becoming like more and more comfortable with the realization that there are things that I could never understand because I don't have the experience to go along with that. Like getting married as young as you did, or as young as Weston is about to. That doesn't make sense to me because I haven't met someone who I consider to be like the love of my life. So when I heard that, I was like, there's no way that this guy, when I met you, I was like, this guy's married with a kid that he was like actively trying to have, and he's only a year older than me? I don't think so.
Yeah, these people haven't heard the Lost Tape, but I kind of covered that a little bit in the Lost Tape in the sense of like, yeah, I got married really, really, really young, but I can't stress enough how much I just was not a marriage person until I met my wife, and I could care less. And even when I first got with my wife Alyssa, I wasn't like, that's the yes please. I wasn't immediately like, well, yeah, that's the one. That just put the bookmark in, close the book right there.
Yeah.
It didn't really go like that. Obviously, it took some.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Growing and learning. Good old No Name with the coffee.
No.
That's hot. I just burned my tongue.
Nice. Now I feel like you can't learn her name.
I refuse to. If she does, like if she says her name at all, I don't know why she would. That's kind of weird. But if she does, she says her name at all before
So
we
you know
leave.
me. Hey guys, you guys ready to check out? I'm Wendy, by the way.
I'm just gonna like and run away, scream before I hear her name. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, my wife. But no, it basically came that person to come along to be like, maybe I could get married. Louis also played it. Like my son also played a huge.
I'm sorry. Speaking of your wife, real quick, because you said, "Oh yeah, my wife." Dylan doesn't know who Borat is. All right, sorry. You can resume.
Dylan also thought Spies in Disguise was a good movie. I'm
Yeah,
not
8 out of
surprised. 10. I'm not surprised he thought, or he doesn't know who Borat is. I watched the second Borat.
Was it good?
It was really good. It was very. It's amazing what that guy can do.
It is hot.
In the sense of like satirical film around real people. Also, there's like a lot of the dialogue of what he has is set up to, like, he says a lot of fucked up stuff. That's just a thing that Borat does. If you know Borat, that's what he does. But the thing about the movie I think is really captivating is a lot of it's some of it's hidden camera, a lot of it is like documentary type, but the people he runs into, I'd like to say he chooses, like specifically chooses people he thinks he'll get like the reaction he's looking for out of.
Yeah.
But a lot of these people, he says these really questionable things that like a mandatory reporter should pick up on, and they just like it goes right over their head. And there's so many people he meets, and there's only one lady in the movie that will like stop and be like, "What the hell is going on here?" in this like messed up plot. And they actually, a bunch of fans of the movie came together after that and raised an $80,000 fund for her.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, she's the babysitter in the movie, and I think that was actually really nice because you look at the movie, she's the only one that was slightly concerned about this, because there's like a 15-year-old character. She's not actually 15, but she plays a 15-year-old, so there's only one person legitimately concerned about this girl's safety. And what all these men were doing around her.
Yeah.
But back to my wife.
Right. I'm glad you made the connection. You saw how I thought of that.
Yeah. No, but yeah, definitely took her. So maybe you have your Alyssa out there somewhere. Maybe that Alyssa has 2 kids already, primed and ready for you.
Let's hope not. My parents asked me once if what if the love of my life had kids already, and I remember telling them like, that's ridiculous. My love of my life, if she's the love of my life and she thinks like me, she's not gonna have kids. And if my dad had gone into a relationship with that mindset, caps off wouldn't exist.
Yeah. Okay, so the caps off this week goes to Brian Campbell.
For being more of a man than I could dream of being right now.
I mean, more of a man than I cannot stand.
I gotta tell him 24 to get there mentally.
I don't think I can stand next to him and say I'm the same.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a kid.
That's your kid.
He's raised 4. You know?
Yeah.
2 of them not his. He took a chance. Like
who he treats like his own, arguably, possibly even more like his own than his own. You know,
he does treat you guys very well.
There was never any barrier.
I feel like with my situation, it's like I walked into a room that said you're gonna be a father on the front of it.
Yeah.
And then he walked up to the door that said, here's a girlfriend. And he walked in and there was 2 kids on the other side of the door.
And he's like, well, I did want a girlfriend.
Yeah. The things I do for love.
You know my mom. She sent me to my room.
So, who knows?
Who knows?
I think I would love nothing more if you actually ran into someone with kids and you're like, oh, fuck, I think I like her.
Oh, God.
Like,
well, I've liked people before and just completely cast them out for some other really shallow reason. And I think that's good enough reason to actually cast them out and be like, nah, I won't date her.
Nothing would make me happier than like a storybook. Like, it could only happen in a movie. The perfect girl comes and just walks right in front of you, and everything about her is amazing.
We're recording.
The film, and she does a podcast, and she has 2 kids, and she's looking for a BD.
I'm like, yeah, she's out there. Maybe she's in LA.
She's like, honestly, I think Ezra Miller was underrated.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Making this tough for me.
She's like, people were too hard on Elvis. I don't think he was a creep
weird
at
question. I like your socks. Have you ever seen Spider-Man 2? It's my favorite movie.
My dog, Otto.
Okay, that'd be a deal breaker. I could not have 2 Ottos.
Oh, yeah. She's like, it's fine. We'll just change it to
my dog,
Ben.
Norman.
She suggests that you change your cat's name to Ben. Do you do it?
No.
It's
Otto knows
best.
his name. Otto's so smart.
It's literally the best person you've ever been around. Your conversations are so fun.
I'm not changing my cat's name for her.
Almost never
Cat predates
disagree.
girl.
And she gives like A+ head, and then the only thing is she's like, you need to change your cat's name to Ben.
Don't do it.
You're kicking her out.
Yeah. Why can't
her
in this
foot's in the
hypothetical
doorway.
conversation?
Her foot's in the doorway. Are you changing the cat's name?
No.
She's almost out.
It's cruel to the cat.
Okay, she's pulling out of the driveway. You
the
can
cat
see it in the
knows
window.
his name. He
You
knows
can
his
see the
name.
headlights down the street.
That's
Are
fine.
you changing the cat's
I'm
name yet?
watching her go. They
While
say you are what
holding
you eat. I must eat not enough. Why can't in this hypothetical situation she walk up and be like, oh, this is my dog, Brock Sir, Edward Brock Jr.?
Because I designed the situation.
Oh, well, I don't like it. So, yeah, I'll watch her go, gladly.
Okay.
Women will always be there.
I'm going to read off my topic list for you.
I actually had one more thing I wanted to cover.
Okay.
2 more things I wanted to cover before we resort to that. And I already see the
go
topic
ahead.
that I want to talk about.
Go ahead. You do? You're reading it?
Yes,
You're not
Spider-Man
supposed to
3
do
and
that.
Doctor Strange 2.
Nice.
Anyway.
Don't read my notes.
Sorry. 2
There's
things I want
important
to...
stuff in there.
I wonder if Trevor feels that I feed off of his life force.
I was thinking more like, the dog says, oh.
Or like in all caps. Like, dog's name must also be Otto. There's something that, there's a decision I made that I realized I hadn't talked about. I talked to Dylan and he was like, no, you definitely haven't talked about that on Caps Off.
I'm pretty sure the old audience knows you're actually a woman.
I'm actually a woman?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I think we've talked about that before.
I'm moving to LA in September. And that's something I haven't talked about on the podcast.
City of Angels.
Right. So we'll see what happens to Caps Off. But I'd like to keep doing this forever, whenever we can. But I know there'll be this series of like weekly episodes and then another one when we're doing agoraphobia. And then after that, it'll probably slow down. We'll probably go back to how we were doing it. Maybe
do it
recording
remotely.
over Discord. Ugh.
I'm sure we can figure it out.
Yeah. And then there's another thing. I have a friend, Alex.
I don't believe you.
Thanks. Hold on. You said friend. No, I have a friend named Alex, and Alex is a part of a kink club.
Kink.
Yes,
Nice.
Kink, K-I-N-K. And she's been telling me about some stuff and sharing some stories that I think are totally hilarious. And this is another one of those, like, I am just incapable of, like, understanding what that's like because I haven't had certain experiences that would lead me to being into these things.
Right.
But there's so much that happens, and I'm like, can I please tell your stories on my podcast? And she was like, yeah, of course.
This is exciting.
Yeah. And she also invited me to one of the kink club's, like, little meetings, little get-togethers.
Oh.
She said I could come to a munch, which is when they...
Stop. Just stop talking. A munch.
That's what I said. I went, all right, hold up. Let's rewind there.
Is that thing where you try to inhale a woman's underwear and then they have to pull it out of your throat before you suffocate?
No, it's
Half of it's wet like a dog chewing on something.
it's a kink club meeting where they're not doing anything kinky. That's a munch.
What? So a munch is them getting together and they're like, we're not going to touch anybody.
Yeah, we're just gonna hang
We're
out.
just, okay.
They're
Did
family.
I assume they talk about it still, though, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Just church. Church is munch.
But
The only
they,
difference is we're not touching each other.
right? But so many
Groundhog Day
alarms.
again.
Yeah, I got invited to a munch. I think their meetings are called like dungeon parties or something like that. And she was showing me some of these people, and they're like old and weird. One of them looks like kind of like Paul Giamatti in Big Fat Liar.
I think what you'll find most of the time in the world is most people don't get adventurous like that until they've long gotten to the point where, like, well, normal sex is just that's like my early 20s kind of stuff.
Well, there's
I can't get off unless there's a rubber duck in the room. I can't get off until you whap my crotch with a leather belt for 3 hours straight.
Right.
And call me Pris Caspian.
There's another person that's her age, and
How old is she? Do you mind saying that?
She's 20.
Okay,
She's 20.
so
and
I'd
this,
say surprisingly young for this kind of community.
And this guy's 21.
Okay.
And she met him, and she's been seeing him for a while. His name is Axel, and he is a dog.
Alex and Axel.
He is a dog.
He's a dog? Like he's literally a dog?
Like a DAWG, like he's a homie?
No.
No, he's a dog. He is a human who
He's
puts on a dog mask and a leash and walks around and acts
Okay.
like a dog, and that's his thing.
Okay. See, I've never wanted to kink shame.
That's what I said. I was like,
But,
I really try and be open and inclusive, but there are freaks out there like that.
Let me, here's where my borders go up. The second any
No offense
reference...
if you're into dog play.
Yeah, the second any reference of an animal comes up,
Yeah.
you lost me.
Well, here's the thing. I don't
I'm
think
gone.
I from what she's told me, I don't think she even does anything like really sexual with him. It's really like a comfort thing. He doesn't really go out and he's not humping things.
It's almost worse if you tell me all they do is like walk around on a leash
Yeah.
and he drinks that. That's worse.
what he
That's way
likes.
worse. I would much rather they have like plugs and all these intricate tools and stuff. I can't handle them just
He
like,
just likes
come on,
existing
boy.
like that. That's his true self.
can't
That's
do
like
that.
like Batman and Bruce Wayne. how Bruce Wayne considers Batman to be like his true identity.
Have you seen that video of that guy that he's like on all fours except for physical? I
am
am
a
a wolf. That's that. That's exactly what that is. And there's so many things at play here. It's bad enough that you're impersonating an animal. I think that might be the tippy top of it.
Yeah.
But then I don't know how Axel is dressed, but if I'm to try to build
It's
an
usually
image,
a lot of leather straps.
I was gonna say, if I'm trying to build an image, a lot of rings, a lot of O-rings, a lot of leather straps, and I don't imagine because he wears a mask, he has to wear like a dog cowl.
It's not even the best dog mask I've seen.
It's probably you've seen it?
Yeah.
Is it leather?
It is.
Is there color on it?
No, it's just black.
I am
it's
not
blue
a
from Blue's Clues.
I am not a kink shamer. I pride myself on being one of the most. When Paul McCartney said "live and let live," I felt that. Okay.
Okay.
And when he said "live and let die," I felt that even more.
You're also atheist, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So when John Lennon said, "Imagine there's no heaven," you really felt that.
That's the greatest line you've ever said, I think. Yeah, especially. But even when it comes to religion, like, I might have had some heated conversations over religion, but have I ever been like, don't go to church, you know?
Right.
Like, you believe what you want to believe.
Yeah.
And I think that transfers right over to the kink thing.
Yeah.
Like what you want to like.
You know you did, you know you did, you know you did.
Yeah. I think when it comes down to the kink thing, as long as you're not hurting anybody or animals, and that's a big part.
I guess he's
Hurting
doing his
anybody
thing.
unconsensually.
I asked her. I was like, so wait. Let me get this straight. I have to work for a living and pay bills and have responsibilities, and then there's a freak like that who just gets to sit there and walk around like a dog and be happy that way.
Does he get compensated for it in any way,
other
than like pets?
Well, that's
and
what
treats?
she told me. Like, no, that's
Does
it.
he eat milk bones?
I hope not.
I hope she at least gets like the cinnamon graham cracker, like Scooby snacks.
She told me like she was like, no, he's like a normal guy. Like, he's like shockingly like you, like in the way like how much he works and his living situation.
I think you'd
It's a
be
lot
surprised
like you.
just how much you two have in common.
What, bro? Like, she was telling me this, and I was like looking around my show. I was like, does he work at Uptown? What are you talking about? Is it Levi?
He's wearing your shirt.
Put the mask on, Trevor.
Or it's gonna get rough. You know exactly how I spelled it.
It's too early.
I think it's too early for this topic entirely.
She also met a dude named Jeff, and Jeff is 50 or 51,
No.
and they got a contract. So
A contract?
yeah, a sex contract. Essentially saying she consented to all the stuff and being he was the master and she was the submissive, stuff like that.
Okay.
And on the day she went to end things, he had a whole elaborate dinner set up for her.
I thought you were going to say he had a lawyer. You're not getting out of this.
No, he had a whole elaborate dinner set up. Because part of the contract is like you can leave whenever you want, so it's still truly consent, you know?
It's probably the best part of the contract, I'd say. The most important part.
Like, he had all these things for her. He gave her like these little cakes, and she came directly to Uptown and gave me one of these cakes. And I was like, okay, this seems like it would be good. And we both ate one, and I felt bad because like he made this with love for his little sub, and
you ate
a me horking it down. She said there was nothing in it.
Cake.
She said there was nothing in it.
I think I know the title
John?
of this episode. Kinky
John,
cake.
when I tell you, I felt high. I've been high before. I'll be the first. This would be the first time I admit that openly on Hats Off. But I felt high, and she swore up and down, "There's nothing in these. I don't feel anything." Levi had one. He didn't feel anything. But I was like, there's no way this is a placebo. The way that I'm feeling, the things that are happening, there's no way. And I was just existing, serving customers, and like really like being like, you have to stay focused. Like, it was bad. And I was like, there's no way.
Hold on to the counter so you don't float away.
But I kept going back, and I was like, you're not feeling anything?
Maybe it was a situation like he had that one little cake on the edge of the plate, and he, like, when she sat down, he spun it towards her, and then she, like, reaches over to the other side and grabs one, and then you ate that cake that he was trying to, like, mosey towards her.
Maybe. It could be.
And then he shows up 10 minutes later. He's like, I paid for that pill, Trevor. I'm getting my money's worth.
What's that? There's a chance it was. What's that? The one drug that makes you all like sexed up and ready to go? Is that ecstasy?
Yeah.
I think
I can tell you weren't on ecstasy because I've done ecstasy before, and you were not on ecstasy.
Right, cool, good.
At least not a lot of it, if you were. Because
I swear I was on something. She insists, like, I didn't drug you, but I'm like, I think you accidentally drugged me, for sure.
Like, I know you've been high before, but you don't know what ecstasy is.
Well,
you don't know what ecstasy is until
you don't know the
do
power.
Yeah, you don't know the power of the red pill. Until you know exactly how it feels. I promise you, you wouldn't have been able to sell movie tickets or popcorn. You wouldn't have been able to.
What if I take it and I'm like, oh my god, this is it. This is the feeling. I'm just that strong mentally. I can fight through it.
I thought you were going for more. I thought you were like trying to say like, this is it. This is the feeling I want to feel for the rest of my life. And you have an addiction to ecstasy.
We took two different routes.
Yeah.
I'd rather kill myself than be an addict. So like, this is never going to be as good as it is now.
The Trevor I met was very brave and had very strong willpower until I introduced him to ecstasy. And he turned into tie-dye Trevor.
Hey, don't talk bad about tie-dye Trevor. He's the best one.
How is that talking bad? I love ecstasy.
Don't even bring him up. You don't know him like I do.
I haven't done ecstasy in like 4 years, but doesn't mean I love it any less. We went our separate ways. We had a good time. I mean, sometimes I still text.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to raise her, 2 kids, but...
Right. Let's get to this. We got 10 minutes. Let's get to this topic.
Okay. We'll just have you pick one of them.
Okay.
Because these topics will stay here on my list until we talk about them. I'll let you pick one. So top to the bottom, we got JFK, John F. Kennedy, of course. The second one is a little vague.
Blown away?
Yeah.
What else do I have to say?
The second one's kind of vague. It just says writing your name at the top of the paper. If you pick that, we can go into it. But otherwise, so the third one... The third one, I actually don't remember putting this in here.
Okay.
I remember when I might have put it in, but I don't exactly remember putting it in. It just says sorghum, the ancient grain. You know what sorghum is?
No.
Okay. What's the ancient grain?
Thank you.
It's even better that you don't know, because then if that's what you pick, we can talk about sorghum.
We'll talk about it at a different time.
Okay. Not big on sorghum right now.
Not right now.
The next one's just Power Rangers. I was thinking about Power Rangers this morning.
I love me some Power Rangers.
Okay. This one's at what point do you wear a mask, and we already covered that.
Yeah.
We got, do colors in your environment affect your mood like they do in movies?
Yes.
Don't answer that question. This isn't like rapid succession.
You're right.
Then we got Mandalorian Season 2. I want to talk about the orchestra for The Phantom Menace in comparison to the other, what do you call those? The music for a film. Scores? Yeah. In comparison to other scores for the Star Wars films. This one I kind of thought of the other day. Do you think people dismiss rappers because of who they are and the lifestyle they choose to live? Like dismiss them as... like less intelligent people. And then we have Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange 2.
Let's do that one.
And then how would I know you're gonna pick that one? And then this one actually might be a little bit long because there is something I did want to get to, and it won't take too long. It's old movies, like 90s movies.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's like coming up on 30 years.
Yeah.
Those are at least 20-year-old movies.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think one of these is definitely a 90s. It might be 2000, and then the other one I think is closer to 80s and 90s.
Batman Begins is 15 years old.
Don't say stuff like that. not in here.
Not in the 50s diner where time doesn't
Batman
move.
Begins doesn't exist yet.
We asked the waitress, like, hey, what year were you born? She's like, 47. Why? She's 13.
Me and we had a fair thing. It was called Steamboat Days. It would come to town every day in Iowa, or every day. Every single day was a fair. No, every summer.
Why is there more going on in Burlington, Iowa, in a city half the size of Sierra Vista than in Sierra Vista?
I've lived here 2 years, and I think that almost every day.
Brian O'Halloran went to Burlington, Iowa. That's ridiculous.
Like
That's stupid.
Like a sad kid
Central.
looking out the windows, watching his friends play on the street because he got grounded.
Like
That's
that
me.
Squidward meme?
Yeah, that's me looking at Burlington after I moved.
Like, I'm moving out to the big city, ma.
Not that it got
Sorry,
better.
you're
It just
from Iowa.
seemed-
Oh, I'm moving out to the big city, ma.
Oh.
Oh. You'll catch me out there.
Better pack my ranch. But God, what was I just talking about?
Something. Dude, it's not even 9 o'clock.
Give me
You
a
can't
break.
expect me to carry this conversation.
Oh yeah, the Steamboat days.
Right.
So it was like small carnival rides, couple concerts. Me and my friends would go every summer, and I had this friend Katie. She's great. She and I would run up to people and ask them what year it was, and when they tell us what year, we just like start jumping up and down and being like, "Yes, it worked."
I remember reading a Tumblr post that,
that-
highlighted that exact behavior in like 2013.
I knew I wasn't the one to come up with it.
That's a good one. That's like me being
basically-
like, dude, epic rap battle history? Check them out.
You're gonna love this. It's really gonna take you back. No, it was like 2013, 2012 around the time. So she probably read that off of Tumblr. Then came that day with like, I have the best idea. You're never gonna believe this. And I, in 2012, not having a Tumblr, I don't think I got one until almost 2014. Actually,
Yeah, it's
was
probably
like,
around the
that's
time I got
genius.
mine.
Yeah, I've never heard of such a amazing, controversial event. We should definitely do that.
Okay, I'm sorry to go on a little side tangent here, but what
That's
was your
like all
social
this
media?
episode was about.
What was your social media progression? Mine went iFunny, Tumblr, 4chan. Before I settled on like Instagram and Reddit, mostly Instagram,
What
and I
about
still
Facebook?
haven't.
When did Facebook come in?
Oh, Facebook was it was right after 4chan. Sorry.
Did you ever have a MySpace?
No.
I was on my
I-
mom's
I want-
Facebook
they-
page
you
yesterday.
can't make
she
one
still has a
anymore.
link to her MySpace, and the link didn't work. But I was like, "That's amazing to see."
You can't make one anymore, but I wanted to make one so I could tell people to add me on MySpace.
Yeah.
And and this was like recent, like less than a year ago. I wanted to do this.
Bring back MySpace. Mine was really
What was
lame.
the guy's name on MySpace? Like Todd
Yeah,
or
it was
something?
Tom.
Tom.
Mine was really lame. It went like Facebook, and then I pretty much only did that. And then I think freshman year I adapted iFunny, and then I also like put off Snapchat, like
Yeah.
it was the new big thing. And I was like, no, that's dumb. It's retarded. Until
Me
I
with
figured out you can
TikTok.
get naked pictures from girls if you try hard enough.
You know, sometimes you don't have to try hard. You saw Tristan's hard drive.
No, that's true. So I really wasn't receiving to Snapchat at first, and then
Yeah.
eventually I came around. Then it was just Facebook and Snapchat until I met you, and then I got Instagram. And
Well, you had Instagram before that, like an Instagram.
yeah, I didn't use it though.
At all?
Not really. Like I barely went on it.
That's crazy.
I wasn't
I know
really
you didn't have
following
any
anybody.
posts. Your
I didn't
first
have any
post is a
posts.
picture
I
of your
just kind of
face. It just
set
says
it up.
Trevor.
Yeah, I just kind of set it up and never went back until I found out that I just needed to follow the right people, and
Yeah.
Instagram can be very entertaining. And so that's pretty much the only ones I have to this date still.
It's weird. I didn't think that it was like an unused Instagram. I always thought you were just like a lurker.
I mean, kind of. That's just how I am with social media in general.
Yeah.
All I do is lurk. Except for recently, I've gotten into posting a little bit more, but it takes a lot for some reason to force myself to do that.
Yeah, TikTok is like designed to be really addictive, and when I go on, it's like yeah, I can see myself scrolling for a long time, but I never feel that compelled to go on. Like my go-to social media is like Instagram,
Where a lot of the good funnies are.
yeah, and so I don't know. I guess I'm probably immune to like the psychological tricks that a lot of businesses use.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, because I mean, if it's designed to be addictive and I'm not addicted to it,
You must be immune.
I've got to be different in some sort of way.
I'm built different. You're a different breed.
Because it just doesn't. I just don't latch on.
Just wait till you try ecstasy. We'll see just how tough
I gotta
you
get
are.
on TikTok.
You ate a brownie made by a sex fiend, and you're like, "Oh, I'm dizzy." You're trying to tell me
not
that you're
social
immune
media.
to stuff.
It's different.
Every
One's a physical thing. One's a totally mental game. I'm unbeaten. I'm the
True,
strongest
but even
mental.
physical stuff is mental to some capacity, and you know that as well as I do.
Maybe.
You do that all the time.
For
in
the sake of this
gym.
argument, no, that's wrong.
In the gym, you do it all the time.
Yeah.
Because you saw how I performed in the
David
gym.
Goggins.
I think I have a very good resolve, but not when it comes to physical stuff.
Yeah.
And you have an amazing resolve when it comes to physical stuff. Now you flip that.
Not when eating right, though.
Yeah. You will down half a pizza, and I will be like, Trevor, you were just getting on me about, you eating too much, and now you're asking me if I'm going to eat that slice of pizza over there. So
I told
it all depends.
I've talked to you before about John at Jaguar, and how he called me hot dog boy and all that.
Yeah.
And this is a good song. I told him. So Weston and I were sitting there, and John was like, "Well, how's the diet going for you guys?" And Weston was like, "John, I have been waiting for you to ask this to us, because it's going great for me. It's going fantastic. Trevor, how about you?" And I was like, "I'm not doing it anymore." And he was like, "Well, why?" And I was like, "I just think good food is too good to pass up. It's food season, and I don't want to miss out." And he was like, "Well, what's your favorite sweet to eat?" And I was like, "Well, I like the pumpkin spice shakes from Culver's." And he was like, "All right, great." And he reworked my diet so I can have a pumpkin spice shake every single day,
Wow.
as long as the rest of my eating's clean. And it's
How
had this
kind.
weird effect so far where, like, I'm excited to eat chicken because I know that I like after my workout, I know I get a bunch of chicken and I get a pumpkin spice shake, and it's forging a good
Wait, so
associate.
you're
Like,
saying-
instead of jumping into the deep end of the pool, it's like wading in through the shallows.
So you're saying to get a good handle on your diet, you needed someone else to institute a reward system for you.
Absolutely.
I'm not talking down on you when I say that. I just think it's funny that you couldn't do it yourself.
I hate
but when
dieting.
someone else is like,
I
all
like-
right,
I
here's
like
what you
food.
get, you're like, okay, I'll do that.
That's why bulking was so easy for me. I have stretch marks from how fast I grew. It's because I like eating.
Yeah.
I love eating.
You do. You eat more than me sober than I do high.
Right.
Which I have, time after time, have found very impressive. Even today, I've barely touched my
Oh yeah,
pancakes, and you have cleaned
eaten
your plate.
like a pancake and a half, and I was done with this in the first 7 minutes of
Yeah.
the podcast.
Okay, so before we finish up,
All right, yeah, 'cause we're at an hour and 1 minute.
you want to get to whatever one of these topics is. I guess we
Sure.
can save the movie thing for next time.
That's
it can
fine.
wait.
Yeah,
You wanted to talk about Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange 2.
yeah.
What do you want to say about it?
Spider-Man 3 is an extremely underrated movie.
I was going for more of the production of MCU's Spider-Man 3.
Ew, why?
Yeah, because they are constantly going on about the cast list.
Well,
And the
there's,
cast list for
rumors that
Doctor
I'm pretty
Strange
sure
2
Sony
is
has
already
shut
out.
down. Doctor Strange 2 is pretty exciting because Sam Raimi is directing it, but I mean, in an ideal world, they use that to build a connection between to build up the Spider-Verse
Yeah.
for Spider-Man 3. That's an ideal world, but I just don't think it's gonna happen because of the way that Sony has refused to play nice in the past. So
I mean, if you Google the cast for Doctor Strange 2, you will see the cast. Have you done
really,
that yet?
no way, dude.
Have you done
No
that
way.
yet?
If you Google the cast, you'll see the cast.
Okay,
I
but
don't
I'm talking
believe
about
you.
for a movie that's not even out yet.
Okay. Well, yeah, that happens a lot.
Okay, for a movie that has not even started
What is
production
Tobey
yet.
Maguire in it?
Can you Google the cast of Spider-Man
wanna do
3?
this
No,
right
because
now.
none of those are confirmed.
I can Google
Doctor
the cast
Strange
of the
2,
real
the
Spider-Man
cast.
3.
Okay. You
The
get what I'm
good
saying,
Spider-Man
though?
3.
You get what I'm saying.
And I'll argue anyone. This is another good song.
The cast for Spider-Man 3,
Yeah, I'm following you.
Not
I'm looking it up.
confirmed.
Cast of Doctor Strange 2.
Doctor Strange 2 has already been, like, they're gonna start filming it soon.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire and Ryan Reynolds and Andrew Garfield are listed in it. And so is Rachel McAdams, who has already come out and been like, I'm not doing that shit.
Wait, which one's Rachel McAdams?
The really, really, really cute girl from The Notebook.
Why would she be in that movie?
She was in the first one. That's why she didn't want to come back.
The first Spider-Man?
The first
Or
Doctor
the first
Strange.
Doctor Strange
Yeah.
movie?
That's why she didn't want to come back, because her role was so forgettable. They gave her nothing to do. She was his love interest.
Oh,
Yeah.
now I remember, yeah. So you're saying that
I actually don't know if she said that,
that
but
holds no weight?
I think that holds zero weight, because they've had other things. Like, I'm pretty sure Hugh Jackman was listed as a cast member for Endgame, and everyone was like, oh.
That's a really good point.
I don't tend to believe these things until they're like officially announced.
That's true. All right, I'll go on that. But doesn't that excite you at all, reading that?
Oh, yeah, it
like
does,
just
but I
looking
just-
at those names together on a list, and
It's
you're like,
wishful
that
thinking.
brings a little bit of
because
warmth
like I
to
would
my heart.
love that to be true, but at the end of the day, it's not confirmed. And if I get my hopes up, I'm just gonna be disappointed. Like I already am with like Far From Home. It's down there.
Yeah.
It's not up there. And Spider-Man 3, the real Spider-Man 3, is it knocked
I
Far From
agree
Home out of
with
the
you.
water.
It's an extremely underrated movie.
Yeah, it does have its problems. I'll be the first to admit that, but it's not as bad as everybody paints it out to be.
Yeah.
And I cried the last time I watched it. Last time I trilogied, I left the first one feeling extremely like excited. This is not the song I think it is.
What song is this?
Love, love, love.
Oh yeah, it
It's
is.
the Beatles. I love this. We should record in a diner every episode.
Love is all you need,
Love is all you need.
and a diner, and some more coffee. No name, Jesus Christ. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I just want to enjoy the song. Sorry. Spider-Man. What was I talking about? Was I talking about Spider-Man 3?
We were talking about how underrated it is.
It's extremely under. Oh yeah. The first one. I stopped watching the first Spider-Man. I finished it, and it was like incredible. Like I was excited, and I wanted to be a hero, and I was like, that's what a movie should be. That is like prime example of a movie. And I watched Spider-Man 2, and I leave it, and I'm just speechless, and I'm like, oh my god, that was incredible. How do you beat the first one with the sequel? Not many people can do that. And Spider-Man 3, the older I get, the harder it hits me, because the more I relate to Peter Parker and the mistakes he makes, and the way that he becomes driven by ego, the more that I just relate to the problems that he experiences in that movie. It's a very underrated film, and people give it a lot of flack, and it doesn't deserve it. Yeah, Tom Holland's Spider-Man is like 11 years old.
Yeah, I agree completely. I definitely think Tobey's still the better Spider-Man, and those movies have a lot more. Just with every character, the depth is times 10.
Yeah.
Compared to the MCU's, like it's the depth of a puddle. You're
Right.
walking through a parking lot.
There's a video that just started going around like yesterday of Andrew Garfield talking in an interview years ago about how like he knows in his heart that Spider-Man and Iron Man would not get along. There's just no room for them to get along because of how sketchy Iron Man is, and how like he's not a hero for the right reasons. And then that's resurfacing now, and everyone's like, hey Tommy boy. So
I mean, I don't think you can really get mad at Tom Holland for how he was as Spider-Man. You can super get mad at Disney for trying to give us that Spider-Man.
yeah, I think he's doing a good job, and I don't blame him at all, but that rendition of the character is not a good one.
I mean, we've set it up time and again. The way they had it with Civil War, you thought you were going to get one of the best Spider-Man ever.
They walked it back in Homecoming.
Yeah, they super walked it back.
He had learned the lessons of becoming a hero, and it seemed like in Homecoming they just forgot that he's already been Spider-Man for half a year.
And then they do almost the exact same thing with Far From Home, but the lessons just not as like compelling.
Yeah.
You just don't care almost.
No, that's true. And you think of the
Especially
problems,
with it all wrapped around like the Tony Stark thing.
right? In the first in the Tobey Maguire trilogy, right? Peter Parker faces problems like, I'm having trouble making rent. The woman I love is getting married. And you know,
Right.
my best friend's dad tried to kill me, but ended up killing himself, and now he thinks it's me, but he doesn't know it's me. There's so much drama in there, like it's like holy shit. And then in the Amazing Spider-Man, it's like Dennis Reedy, maybe an asshole, but he's the father of this girl that I really like, and he also has to deal with like the struggles of being Spider-Man and keeping his identity a secret. And then he's like, I just promised this dude I wouldn't date his daughter, even though she's the only person I've ever wanted, and then she dies.
Yeah.
Right? But then, like, Tom Holland's biggest problems are, like, well, okay, there's obviously the Tony Stark thing, but, I mean, aside from that, like, his biggest problems are, like, I gotta impress this rich
forgot
guy.
my spider suit.
Right.
No. Oh, wait, my mom sent it to me.
I want to sit next to my crush on our plane ride to Venice, Italy.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Who's gonna relate to this kid going
One of
to
the most
like
privileged superheroes in the
right?
world.
Who's like Peter Parker is one of the most relatable characters in comic books, and who's gonna relate to this version of the character that's like going to like a school where you have to like a literally the definition of a privileged school where like you have to be a certain intelligence and be a certain kind of worker in order to even make it into this school, this like advanced school.
A huge comparison can be like
There were kids doing drugs in the bathrooms at Buena, dude. Are you kidding me? I don't know what that's like.
a huge comparison is like you think about like Toby's Peter Parker, very, very, very intelligent. But
Yeah.
is he like uppity about it? No. Is he excelling at it? Absolutely not. Like he's very smart, but in Dr. Connor's class, he's very bumbly. He's often late.
I'm failing.
Yeah. And then you turn around and apply that to the Peter Parker with Tom Holland,
Yeah.
and you get this feeling like gifted Trevor. Like you're like, oh, this kid's a fucking ass.
He's got it all laid out.
They're wearing
yeah.
the blazers, and they're like, I come from a good school, and I'm in the gifted program, and that's
Flash
why we're
Thompson's
here.
problem in that is like, oh, my parents don't love me, which is like, I thought
I'm too rich. Oh
Well,
no.
we finished. You and I watched Far From Home for the first time together.
Yeah.
And we finished it, and they had like two little things in there with Flash Thompson, like being like, what, mother couldn't make it. You know, his parents just not seeming to care about his well-being. And I think that is the most compelling thing that has come out of those movies. I was like, holy, you looked at me, and you're like, what the fuck was that? And I was like, that is more character than this Peter Parker has. That's what that is.
We can also slam the difference in Flashes and like Toby's
Fist breaking
Flash.
your teeth. That's the accident.
Yeah, Toby's Flash is like he's a nerdy kid, and it's a legitimate like bully, and it was Mary Jane's boyfriend.
Yeah.
This Flash is just like it's another kid
take a ride
in
in my
your
new
class.
birthday present.
Yeah, the kid's probably the same social class you are. You're in the same smart classes, and yeah, he's making fun of you because he's pulling up in a convertible, and he's complaining about like, yeah, I don't get enough mommy and daddy time because they're
In
fucking
real life,
powerful
Flash
people.
Thompson gets bullied for saying penis Parker.
See,
He gets the shit kicked out of him.
I just can't do it. But it's things like that like I know you hated Far From Home.
I didn't hate it. I can watch it and enjoy it, but in comparison to other Spider-Man movies, if there was no other Spider-Man renditions, I would love Far From Home.
Okay, what about Far From Home compared to Homecoming?
Homecoming's way better.
I disagree. But anyway, I want to talk about the ending.
Well,
exactly.
It's okay to be wrong, but
It's me and my brother. Nobody will get that.
Yeah, not
I want to
even
talk
me.
about the ending. Specifically, that post-credit scene with J. Jonah Jameson and all that.
Yeah.
Does that give you a little bit of hope for maybe a better? I don't want to say a better plot moving forward, but a better opportunity for Spider-Man to have some real growth that you would like to see, for Peter Parker to go through some challenges that you would like to see, instead of just being like these, ones we were just complaining about, like his identity's out. He's gonna have to deal with real problems, and like people really want to talk to him about all this
there's ways
crazy
around
Spider-Man
that.
stuff.
There's ways around that in
it.
the same movie. Like the scrolls are literally in Far From Home.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
it's so easy to get around. Like, I'm not fucking Spider-Man. What are you talking
So you're
about?
saying, but my question is like, you're not excited to see that pan out at all?
I guess I kind of am, but like it was a big cliffhanger in the moment, but it's one of those that I just kind of like, after some time, I'm like, that's not that big of a problem. Every superhero in the world has their identity revealed in this universe. He's one of the few that actually has a secret identity.
Okay.
So, what's gonna happen?
My next question is, for this next movie, who's the villain it would have to be to pull you in like nothing?
Craven.
Craven the Hunter. Yeah, it's California Dreamin' by the by the Beach Boys.
I was about to say, I know this song too. You and I have talked about this song. Beach Boys it is.
Good old Beach Boys. I hated it at first, but this version actually kind of grew on me after a while.
I ended up downloading it.
I really hated it at first.
It's nothing compared to the Jose Feliciano from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But
okay, so you think Craven's the one? Craven is
Craven would blow me out of the water.
I think it's
Mr.
a good
Ditkovich
answer.
was supposed to be Craven. In Spider-Man 4, he was going to be revealed to be. It's like this guy's bumbling old man. Right. He was a retired Craven the Hunter.
I think for Spider-Man, that's a really, like, you have to be a comic Spider-Man fan to like Craven.
Yeah.
And really in-depth to think that that'd be good on screen. So I feel like that wouldn't be a big fan service villain, but I do think he would be a very good villain, yeah. I think it'd be interesting to see Craven.
Well, let's wrap this up because we're at an hour 15,
okay,
so I'm going to shake
right before I finish.
Okay.
Just one more part. So I want to round it almost back to where we started. So the reason I had it in my notes as Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange 2 is mostly just because of the stipulation behind both of those movies involving 3 Spider-Man. So say we live in a hypothetical world where which one comes out first, you know? I think Doctor Strange 2, right?
Yeah, it comes out first.
So that movie comes out. They have 3 Spider-Man in it, almost introducing the MCU to the Spider-Verse, which, if you ask me...
Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker better be a professor. He better be a teacher.
Yeah.
That's how I want it.
If you ask me, it's kind of beating you over the head with the Spider-Verse thing.
Yeah.
Especially because you think about a multiverse theory.
Yeah. And
you have all these theories that also... Or all these heroes that could also have all these different... So why are we focusing on the Spider-Verse so much? Not that it's not good.
Cool.
It is cool. It's really cool. But think about an Iron Man with just something slightly different about him from a different universe.
Yeah.
And you apply that to Spider. It's the same logic.
No, we're okay.
No,
thank you.
It's the exact same logic when you flip it over. You could have a Hulk from this universe where he was a pig.
Right, but
Spider-Geddon.
Spider-Geddon's a thing in the comics. It's like a huge comic-breaking thing.
Okay, yeah, that's a really good point.
So that's why they focus so much on Spider-Verse in movies.
My question is, so they do Doctor Strange 2 with those, and then they come to Spider-Man 3, and you see almost the same concept with the Spider-Verse. Is it too much?
I don't think so.
You think one movie
as long
will
as that's
cover it?
As long as, like, that needs to be, like, it for a while, you know? Like, then lay off Spider-Man for... Don't recast him when the contract's up with Sony, right? So he gets through his one more solo movie and one more group movie, and then don't recast him. Yeah. And just let Spider-Man sit or do something with the versions that you already have. Because I know they talked about continuing the Raimi-verse and the Mark Webb universe. Just in like little anthology movies.
Yeah.
Do that. Don't recast.
Yeah.
You know, leave it alone. Let it sit for 10, 15 years before going back.
You got to think when they do, because Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, has got already a lot going on. There's supposed to be a lot to do with Scarlet Witch, and it's a Doctor Strange movie, so obviously most of it has to be about Doctor
WandaVision is going to lead
Strange.
directly into Doctor Strange too. So.
Yeah. So I think if they do that, it's probably going to be 10 minutes of Spider-Verse stuff.
It's got to be like toward the end they set that up.
They added in, and then which makes you think like for Spider-Man 3 they not only have to do something new with it, because just the idea of showing the Spider-Verse and all these different Spider-Man coming out of portals, that's cool and it works for one movie. You know, you can't do that twice, and the same like Avengers music playing as they're coming out of, like, you know, people want to see something different. So I think that's what makes me curious as to see how differently they're going to do it. If they do it at all.
Yeah.
But I'm sure all 3 Spider-Men are down to do it, so it's all a matter of the greedy fucking
I've heard
people who run the companies.
Tobey Maguire's big thing is like he doesn't even want more money, he just wants more screen time as Peter Parker. Like he doesn't want Spider-Man, he wants to be Peter Parker, and I think that's the best thing I could ever ask for.
Brothers?
I did, yeah.
Him and Jake Gyllenhaal? That was crazy.
I remember saying that forever ago, and I thought I was going to get Spider-Man. I did not get Spider-Man.
Especially when he finds out about this stuff with his family, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just his reaction to acting in that scene. I love it. Anyway, let's finish this up.
All right, I'll shake your hand.
Yeah.
And in real life, tomorrow's Halloween, but in the time this is uploaded, tomorrow's my birthday. So big little 2 weeks.
Happy past Halloween and happy early birthday.
All right. Sounds good to me. And without further ado, here is the great Leopold Valenzuela.
Episode 3. Enjoy.
A letter came for you in the mail today.
Oh, who's it from?
Some woman. She said that her son died under your command or something.
Let's see here. To the great Leopold Valenzuela. My name is Mary. My son served under you in the Union at the Battle of Kapoff. He always spoke very highly of you in his letters about your conquests. He says nobody in the Confederacy could ever dream to match your strategic military genius.
Genius? Who does she think that she's talking to?
Though I loved my son as he was my firstborn and only child, at the end of the day, he was a bone-headed Columbus.
I've got one of those sitting in front of me right now. Heyo!
I personally believe that a man of your talents would be better.
I was saying that you were the Columbus in that scenario.
Yeah, I got it. Can you just... Okay? I believe that a man of your talents would be better suited fighting for the Confederacy. Please sincerely consider switching sides. Sincerely, Mary Ann Slagathor. Well, Gloria, it seems there's only one thing I can do.
Yeah, not consider going into the Confederacy and just forget the letter.
I can't let down my fans.
Your fans?
Yeah, well, I think
fans?
the people would
You know
love
what? My father
my
was right
kindness
about
and
you.
generosity.
He always said that you were
Do
just
not
like a
bring up
Wither
your
and
father.
Petunia.
He died when he
and
was
he-
29. Are you the great Leopold Valenzuela? Well, as far as I know, I'm your great-great-great-great-grandson. And my name is Trevor. Trevor? Well, I done hardly know her.
Lord, I hope that joke dies when you do.
This is gonna sound weird, but I need your help. I need you to come with me. The fate of the world's at stake. Well, let me just ask my dear wife here, Gloria.
The sooner you get out of here, the better.
Well, that's all I needed. What kind of adventure is this? Is he gone?